Good morning, students. Today we'll clear some of the important terms used in ecology. The first term is habitat and ecological niche. Habitat. Habitat is a place where the individual lives. For example, it is the address of the organism. Habitat is not species specific, and many species can occupy the same habitat. Habitat consists of several niches. Habitat is the superset of the niche. For example, desert, ocean, mountain, grassland, forest. These are the habitats. Coming to the ecological niche. Ecological niche, it defines a particular role played by the organism in the ecosystem. That is, if the habitat is the address of the organism, ecological niche is its profession. Niche is species specific and no two individuals can have same niche. Niche is specific to a particular species which may overlap with similar niches but must have distinct differences. So niche is the subset of habitat. For example, different trophic positions occupied by the Darwin finches. So this is the difference between habitat and ecological niche. Now coming to the obligate parasitism and facultative parasitism. Obligate parasitism. It is the kind of parasite in which the parasite is completely dependent on the host to complete its life cycle. Obligate parasite cannot survive without the host. Therefore, they do not severely harm the host. For example, fungi, bacteria, viruses, they exhibit obligate parasitism. Facultative parasitism. In this kind of parasite, the parasite does not completely depend upon the host to complete its life cycle. It can survive without the host also. The nematode species, for example, Strongyloides, is found free living but can also cause disease when it infects the human beings. So this is facultative, dal badlu type of parasitism. Now coming to the parasite, they are of three types depending upon the position where they are present: ectoparasite, endoparasite and mesoparasite. The parasites that live upon the surface of the body of the host, they are known as ectoparasite, for example the ticks. Then is the endoparasite that live inside the host. They are known as endoparasite, for example the roundworms, the protozoa in the blood. Then is the mesoparasite, the parasite that enters the host body through an opening and embedded themselves are known as mesoparasite, for example the copypods. Next is the type of parasitism depending upon the nature. For example, brood parasitism. The parasite in which the young parasite are raised by the host is known as the brood parasitism. For example, cuckoo. Cuckoo lays its egg in the crow's nest and it is the duty of the crow to raise the young ones. It incubates the eggs, it raises the young ones. That is the brood parasitism, and cuckoo does not do any work except the egg laying. Second is the kleptoparasitism. Kleptoparasitism in which the food of the host is stolen by the parasite and it is known as the kleptoparasitism. For example, the skuas, they steal the foods. Then is the sexual parasitism. In this type of parasitism, where the males, they are dependent on the female for survival, and this case is seen in the case of the anglefish, that is the Lophius, where male is very rudimentary, it is present on like just a spot on the body of the female. Then is the parasitoid. different term. It is seen in the case of the insects, where the parasitoids, they complete their life cycle in the insect host. That is, they will kill the host. Either they lay their eggs inside the egg of the insects, so they feed on the eggs of the insects, and they will kill the eggs of the insects. So parasitoids, they are those organisms which kill the parasites, right? So hyperparasites, the hyperparasites that live on another parasite, they are known as the hyperparasite. The most common example of insects that lay the eggs inside or near the parasite larvae, which are themselves parasitizing on the tissues of the host, again usually an insect larvae. Hyperparasites are strictly termed as hyperparasitoids and are found mainly among the hymenopterans, that is the wasps, sawflies, etc. Although some flies and beetles also adopt these strategies. So parasitoids, they complete their life cycle in the parasites. Next is the competition exclusion principle. This is a different type of principle which says that two species, they cannot coexist, right? So only one species will survive. This example is seen in the case of paramecium. We have two species of paramecium, Paramecium aurelia and Paramecium caudatum. When grown separately, they will grow well in the culture media, but when both the species, they are put together in the same culture media, after some times what we'll see, one species, it will survive, the other species, it will die. This is known as the competition exclusion principle. That is, one species, it will be eradicated by the other because of the competition. Then is the exponential growth. Exponential population growth will occur in the ideal environment where the resources, they are unlimited. In such an environment, there will be no competition to place limits on geometrical rate of growth. Initially, population growth will be slow as there is the shortage of the reproducing individual, but may be widely dispersed as the population number increases. The rate of the growth it increases, and it assumes J-shaped curve. So J-shaped curve is shown by the exponential growth. Then is the logistic growth. Logistic growth is sigmoidal growth. It is S-shaped. It will occur when the population number begins to approach the finite carrying capacity. The carrying capacity is the maximum number of species that can be sustained by the environment. So as the population approaches the carrying capacity, the environmental resistance will occur, and this slows down the growth, and the S-shape or sigmoidal curve is seen. So in this way, now the factors affecting the population growth. The limiting factors are environmental conditions that control the rate at which the population growth can occur. The population growth is controlled by two types of factor. Number one, the density dependent factor. Number two, the density independent factor. Density dependent environmental factors, they are influenced by the relative size of the population. These factors, they include the predator number, the availability of food and other resources, and spread of the pathogenic diseases. Whereas density independent environmental factors, they are not influenced by the relative size of the population. These factors, they include the weather or the climatic condition, as well as the occurrence of the natural disasters like the earthquake. So these factors, they affect the population growth. Now coming to the next, another important topic, that is the carrying capacity and the biotic potential. Carrying capacity, as I've told you, it is Carrying capacity of the environment is the maximum population size of the biological species that can be sustained by a specific environment. That is, that environment can provide food, habitat, water, other resources to the individual. So maximum number of individuals that can be sustained in that very environment, that is the carrying capacity of the ecosystem. Second is the biotic potential. Biotic potential, it refers to the inherent power of population to increase in number when all the environmental conditions they are favorable. Means biotic potential is the number of individuals that can be born to the population if all the environmental conditions they are excellent or favorable. I hope these terms they are clear to you. Thank you.